70% of Americans retire completely broke, living entirely on Social Security checks that barely cover rent, because they didn't work hard, because nobody ever taught them the rules. Here's the painful truth. You can work 40 years, earn millions over your lifetime, and still die poor. Meanwhile, someone making half your income retires financially free. The difference isn't luck. It's not inheritance. It's 7 specific rules one person followed and the other ignored. Person A makes $200,000 a year, broke, stressed, living paycheck to paycheck. Person B makes $60,000, calm, building wealth, sleeping well. Same economy, different rules. Financial freedom is a skill anyone can learn at any age with any income. These aren't complicated Wall Street secrets. They're simple disciplines broke people avoid and wealthy people live by daily. I'm about to show you all 7. Rule number 7 is about legacy. What you leave behind matters more than what you spend. Most people never think about this until it's way too late. Hit subscribe if you're ready to learn the rules. Comment your age and learning if today's the day you stop working for money and make money work for you. But first, here's the truth about wealth nobody wants to hear. Strategy 1. Track your numbers. Know where you actually are. But first, here's the truth about wealth nobody wants to hear. You can't fix what you don't measure. And most people are flying completely blind with their money. Ask someone how much they spent last month. Watch them squirm. I don't know. Maybe 3,000, 4, I think? That's not an answer. That's a guess. And you can't build wealth on guesses. 65% of Americans cannot tell you how much money they spent last month. Not because they're stupid, because they're not tracking. They feel broke but can't explain why. Money disappears into a black hole of stuff, and at the end of every month, they're wondering where it all went. Here's the brutal reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't control your money. Your money controls you. You're not managing finances, you're just reacting to them. And reactive spending is how people stay broke forever on any income. There's a proverb that says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty." Diligence starts with knowing. You can't plan what you don't track. You can't control what you don't measure. Studies prove this. People who track spending spend 30% less than people who don't. Not because they're more disciplined, because awareness itself changes behavior. The moment you write down that $40 DoorDash order, your brain goes, wait, $40 for a burger? Suddenly, you're making different choices. Here's your starting point. Track everything for 30 days. Every single dollar. Coffee, gas, subscriptions you forgot about, that random Amazon purchase at 2 a.m., all of it. Use an app like Mint or YNAB or just a simple spreadsheet. Doesn't matter how, just track it. This will hurt. You'll discover you're spending way more than you think on things you don't even remember buying. That's the point. Face the truth. Because you can't change what you're not willing to see. A couple is making $120,000 a year who couldn't figure out why they were always broke. Started tracking for 1 month, discovered $800 on a food delivery they didn't remember ordering, $400 on subscriptions they weren't using, streaming services, apps, gym memberships for gyms they'd never visited, $600 on impulse Amazon purchases, $1,800 a month, over $21,000 a year, vanishing into unconscious spending. They cut half of it immediately, redirected $900 a month to savings. 1 year later, $10,800 saved just from awareness. They didn't get a raise, didn't win the lottery, just started tracking and suddenly had money they never had before. They told me, we weren't broke because we didn't make enough. We were broke because we didn't know enough about where it was going. Tracking didn't restrict us, it freed us. You can't win a game when you don't know the score. You can't manage what you don't measure. Tracking isn't punishment, it's clarity. And clarity is the first rule of wealth. Know your numbers or stay broke. Those are your options. Once you finally know where your money actually goes, here's the discipline that separates people who build wealth from people who just dream about it. Strategy 2. Live on 70% of your income. The golden rule. Once you finally know where your money actually goes, here's the discipline that separates people who build wealth from people who just dream about it. Living on 70% of your income. Not 80, not 95, 70. And I know what you're thinking. That's impossible. I'm already spending everything I make. Yeah, that's the problem. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Not just people making minimum wage, people making $150,000 a year. The problem isn't income. It's spending 100% of whatever comes in, no matter how much that is. Here's the golden rule that's been around for thousands of years, but somehow everyone forgot. 70% for living expenses. 10% for learning and personal development. 10% for investing in wealth building. 10% for giving and generosity. This isn't about complicated math, it's about discipline. It's proof that you control your money instead of your money controlling you. But I can't live on 70%. Yes, you can. You just haven't tried. Here's the truth bomb. If you can't live on 90% of your income, you can't live on 100% either. You're just delaying the inevitable crash with credit cards and hoping it works out somehow. Spoiler, it won't. Start where you are. Can't do 70% immediately? Fine. Start at 95% this month, then 90 next quarter, then 85. Gradually adjust your lifestyle down to create margin. Because margin is where wealth grows. Without margin, you're just surviving on a treadmill, going nowhere. There's a doctor I know making $300,000 a year, completely broke, stressed out of his mind, drowning in debt. He came to a financial advisor, desperate. I need to make more money. The advisor looked at his spending and said, no, you need to spend less money. The doctor got defensive. But I deserve nice things after all my years of training and student loans. The advisor didn't blink. You deserve financial freedom more than you deserve impressing strangers with a car they can't afford either. Cut your lifestyle by 20%. Save the difference. The doctor was furious, but desperate enough to try it. Cut his lifestyle from $300,000 to $240,000 annually. Still extremely comfortable, just less ridiculous. Saved $60,000 a year. 3 years later, $180,000 saved, debt completely cleared, stress evaporated, sleeping through the night for the first time in a decade. He told me, I thought I needed more income. Turns out I needed more discipline. Living on 80% of 300,000 beats, living on 100% of 500,000, because one builds wealth and the other builds anxiety. The 70% rule isn't about deprivation. It's about creating margin. Margin is the space between what you earn and what you spend. That space is where investments grow, where emergency funds build, where financial freedom lives. Without margin, you're just a high-income broke person waiting for the next crisis to destroy you. But here's the problem. Discipline without systems always fails eventually. Here's how to make saving completely automatic so willpower isn't required. Strategy 3. Automate your saving. Systems beat willpower. But here's the problem. Discipline without systems always fails eventually. Willpower is finite. It runs out. Usually around 3 p.m. on a Tuesday when you're tired, and Amazon is one click away. You've tried manual saving before. This month I'll save $500. The month ends, you saved $0. Okay, next month for sure. Next month, same result. Repeat for 5 years. Total saved, maybe $2,000 if you're lucky, and you needed it 3 times, so now it's gone. Why does this happen? Because you're trying to save what's left at the end of the month. Here's the problem. There's never anything left. Money has this magical ability to disappear into expenses that feel essential at the time, but you can't remember 2 weeks later. Studies prove this brutally. People who manually save, I'll save whatever's left over, save almost nothing over time. People who automate their savings, they save 10 times more. Not because they're more disciplined, because the decision is removed entirely. Human nature works against manual saving. We have present bias. We want things now more than we want security later. Every month becomes a battle. Should I save this 500 or buy that thing I want? Present, you always wins. Future, you always loses. Automation removes the battle. You can't spend what you never see. You can't make bad decisions about money that's already gone to savings before you had a chance to screw it up. Here's the system. Pay yourself first. Automatically. The day after your paycheck hits, money auto-transfers to savings. Before you see it, before you budget it, before you can talk yourself out of it, it's just gone. Into an account at a different bank, so transferring it back requires actual effort. Start with 5% if that's all you can do. $50 a paycheck, whatever, just start. Then increase by 1% every 3 months. You won't even feel it, but it compounds into life-changing money. There's a teacher making $50,000 who tried manual saving for 5 years. Total saved $2,000. Kept needing it for emergencies that weren't really emergencies, just things she wanted and justified. Finally set up automation. $400 auto-transferred the day after each paycheck. Didn't see it, didn't miss it, forgot it existed. Year 1, $4,800 saved. Never touched it because it wasn't in her regular account. Year 3, $14,400 saved plus compound growth from investing it. Money she couldn't afford to save when she tried manually. She told me, for 5 years I tried to save and failed every single month. For 3 years I automated saving and succeeded without thinking about it. I didn't become more disciplined. I became smarter. I stopped trusting my willpower and started trusting systems. Willpower fails, systems don't. Willpower is finite, systems are infinite. Manual saving is a daily battle you'll eventually lose. Automated saving eliminates the battle entirely. One strategy fails, the other builds wealth while you sleep. Now you're automatically saving, but here's what ensures that money gets spent intentionally instead of accidentally disappearing into the void. Strategy 4. Plan your money before it leaves. Intentional versus accidental. Now you're automatically saving, but here's what ensures that money gets spent intentionally instead of accidentally disappearing into the void. Planning every dollar before it leaves your account. Most people spend money reactively. Bills come in, pay them. Want something, buy it. Friend suggests dinner, go. End of the month arrives, and they're staring at their bank account like it's a crime scene. Where did it all go? Here's where it went. Into a black hole of emotional decisions made in the moment without any plan. DoorDash at 9 p.m. because you're tired. Amazon at midnight because you're bored. Subscription charges you forgot existed. Random stuff that seemed important at the time, but you can't even remember now. Studies show people without a budget spend 30% more than people with a budget. Not because they're bad people, but because every spending decision happens in isolation, reactively, emotionally. Should I buy this? Feels different from, should I blow my entire entertainment budget on this? Every dollar needs a job, not a suggestion, a job. No plan means dollars wander aimlessly into whatever catches your attention. A plan means dollars accomplish specific missions you decided on when you were thinking clearly, not when you were tired and emotional. Here's the system. Zero-based budgeting. Before the month starts, assign every single dollar. Income minus expenses minus savings minus investing minus giving equals 0. Nothing left unassigned to disappear mysteriously. Rent, utilities, insurance, that's the easy part. But also assign money to variable stuff. Food budget, gas budget, and hint budget. When the entertainment budget hits 0, entertainment stops until next month. Not complicated, just intentional. The magic happens when you write it down before the money arrives. Money has a purpose before it gets a chance to disappear. There's a freelancer I know with wildly inconsistent income, anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 a month. He never budgeted because income's too unpredictable. Result? Always broke. Good months, bad months, didn't matter. Money vanished. Zero savings. Constant stress. Finally started zero-based budgeting using his worst month, $3,000, as the baseline. Every month he made more than $3,000. The extra went straight to the emergency fund. Within a year, built a 6-month cushion. Stress completely disappeared. He told me, I thought unpredictable income meant I couldn't budget. Turns out unpredictable income means I must budget. I planned for a worst-case scenario, saved everything above it, and broke the feast or famine cycle that kept me broke for years. The income didn't change, my plan changed. Here's your move. This weekend, before the new month starts, write it down. Every dollar of expected income gets assigned to a category. Necessities first, then savings, then everything else. Adjust as the month goes if needed. It's a plan, not a prison. Plan written equals money directed. No plan equals money disappearing. Intentional spending beats accidental spending 100% of the time. But plans fail when you don't understand money. Here's how to become your own financial expert so nobody can take advantage of you ever again. Strategy 5. Learn about money every week. Knowledge is wealth. But plans fail when you don't understand money. Here's how to become your own financial expert so nobody can take advantage of you ever again. Learn about money every single week. 1 hour. Non-negotiable. Here's the painful truth. Financial illiteracy keeps more people poor than lack of money ever could. 63% of Americans are financially illiterate. Can't explain compound interest. Don't understand their own 401k. Confused by basic investing. And this isn't because they're stupid, it's because nobody ever taught them. Schools don't teach personal finance. Your parents probably didn't either. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't know. So you entered adulthood knowing calculus you'll never use, but having zero clue how a Roth IRA works or why debt compounds against you while investments compound for you. There's a proverb that says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Not lack of money, lack of knowledge. You can give someone $1 million, and if they're financially illiterate, they'll be broke in 5 years. Ask any lottery winner. Meanwhile, teach someone wealth principles, and they'll build $1 million themselves and pass those principles to their kids. Knowledge multiplies. Ignorance just repeats poverty. Here's what breaks my heart. People know celebrities, net worth, memorize sports statistics, binge watch 8 seasons of a show in a weekend, but won't spend 1 hour learning how money actually works. Then they wonder why they're broke at 50. You don't need an MBA. You need 1 hour every week learning one topic: compound interest, index funds, tax optimization, retirement accounts, insurance, estate planning, debt strategies. 1 topic per month. 12 months, 12 topics. In 1 year, you'll know more than 90% of people. Resources are free. YouTube channels like Graham Stephan and Minority Mindset, books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and The Millionaire Next Door, podcasts like Bigger Pockets and Choose FI, Khan Academy's finance courses. It's all out there. The only thing stopping you is you. There's a single mom making $45,000 a year with absolutely zero financial knowledge. Started learning for 1 hour every Sunday. Month 1, learned about compound interest, opened a Roth IRA. Month 3, understood index funds, started investing $200 a month. Month 6, learned tax deductions, saved $1,200 on taxes. Month 12, financial confidence completely transformed. 5 years later, she has $15,000 invested and growing. Understands her money better than people making triple her income, and she's teaching her kids what nobody taught her. She told me, "I stayed poor because I stayed ignorant. Not my fault, nobody taught me, but absolutely my responsibility to learn. 1 hour weekly changed my entire family's trajectory. My kids will grow up financially literate because I stopped making excuses and started learning." Financial education isn't optional, it's survival. You either learn or you get taken advantage of by everyone who did learn. Predatory lenders, bad financial advisors, scammy investment schemes. They're all counting on your ignorance. 1 hour weekly. Every Sunday morning, Tuesday evening, whenever, doesn't matter when. Just block it, learn, take notes, apply immediately. Knowledge without action is useless. Here's how to turn everything you're learning into actual wealth that multiplies. Strategy 6. Build assets, not just savings. Make money multiply. Knowledge without action is useless. Here's how to turn everything you're learning into actual wealth that multiplies while you sleep. Stop just saving money. Start building assets. Most people save money and let it sit in a bank account, earning 0.5% interest while inflation runs at 3%. They think they're being safe. They're actually losing money every single year, just slower than if they'd lit it on fire. Here's the math that should make you angry. $50,000 sitting in a savings account at 0.5% interest for 10 years becomes $52,500 nominally. Sounds good until you account for inflation at 3% annually. Real purchasing power? $38,000. You just lost $12,000 by being safe. Same $50,000 in an S&P 500 index fund averaging 8% over 10 years? $108,000. Even after inflation, that's $78,000 in purchasing power. You gain $28,000 by risking it. The biggest financial risk isn't market volatility. It's doing absolutely nothing and watching inflation silently eat your money while you think you're being responsible. Saving preserves money. Assets multiply money. One keeps you broke safely. The other makes you wealthy with calculated risk. Assets aren't just stocks and real estate. Assets are anything that generates value or profit over time. Index funds that pay dividends, rental properties producing monthly income, but also skills that increase your earning power, coding, sales, marketing, side businesses, service-based, online, product, digital products that generate passive income, courses, ebooks, templates. You don't need $10,000 to start. $100 a month into an index fund compounds into life-changing money over decades. Learn a high-income skill in your spare time using free YouTube courses. Start a tiny side business with $1 investment. There's a warehouse worker making $50,000 a year who kept $20,000 in savings to be safe. His friend told him, "That money's dying, put it to work." He was terrified. What if I lose it? Finally, invested $15,000 in index funds, kept $5,000 as an emergency fund. Also started learning web design from free YouTube tutorials in the evenings. 5 years later, index funds grew to $28,000, $13,000 in growth he'd never have gotten in savings. Web design side income brings in $1,500 a month extra. Total wealth transformation just from making money work instead of sit. He told me, savings feel safe until you realize you're guaranteed to lose money to inflation every year. Investing feels risky until you realize not investing is the biggest risk of all. I thought I was protecting my money by keeping it in savings. I was actually volunteering to get poorer slowly. Start this quarter. Open a brokerage account at Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Put $100 to $500 monthly into a total market index fund like VTI or VOO. Don't touch it for 10+ years. Let compound interest do what it does. Plus, pick one non-financial asset. Learn a skill. Start a side hustle. Create something that generates value beyond your day job. Savers stay poor. Builders get rich. Assets multiply. Savings deteriorate. Choose multiplication. All of this creates wealth for you. But here's what makes it last beyond your lifetime and changes your family forever. Strategy 7. Think about legacy, what you leave behind. All of this creates wealth for you, but here's what makes it last beyond your lifetime and changes your family forever. Thinking about legacy, what you leave behind when you're gone. Most people think financial freedom means retire comfortably and travel. That's cute. It's also selfish and short-sighted. You're thinking about 40 years of retirement when you should be thinking about 4 generations of impact. Here's the question that separates wealth from poverty thinking. Are you building something that dies with you, or something that outlasts you? Studies show wealth doesn't last past the 3rd generation in most families. Grandpa builds it, dad maintains it, grandkids blow it. Why? Because money was transferred, but principles weren't. You can give someone $1 million without financial education, and they'll be broke in 5 years. But teach someone wealth principles, and they'll build $1 million themselves, and pass those principles to their kids. There's a biblical principle that says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Not just your kids, your grandkids, people you might never meet. That's generational thinking. That's legacy. Your financial decisions today affect children who haven't been born yet. The question isn't, can I afford to retire? It's, what system am I building that serves my family for the next 100 years? Financial legacy isn't just money. It's teaching your kids to manage money so they don't blow the inheritance. It's living as an example of financial responsibility, so they model what they saw, not what you said. It's creating family wealth principles, written, discussed, lived, that get passed down like heirlooms. There's a grandfather who lived his whole life on an average income. His kids thought he was cheap. He died and left behind $500,000 invested over 40 years, a paid-off house, and a letter. The letter said, "I lived below my means so you could live above yours. But don't waste this. Multiply it. Teach your children what I taught you by how I lived." Wealth isn't about what you spend, it's about what you build and pass on. Make me proud. His grandkids are now teaching their kids the same principles. 4 generations later, the family wealth mindset is the real inheritance, worth more than any dollar amount. That grandfather's been dead for 20 years. His impact is still compounding. The money might eventually run out. The principles never will. Financial freedom isn't the goal, it's the tool. The goal is impact that outlasts you, a legacy that echoes in generations you'll never meet. Think bigger than retirement, think generations. All of this sounds overwhelming. Here's exactly how to actually start today. So there they are, 7 rules that build wealth at any age with any income. Track your numbers so you know reality. Live on 70% to create margin. Automate savings so systems beat willpower. Plan every dollar before spending. Learn about money weekly. Build assets that multiply, not savings that deteriorate. Think legacy beyond your lifetime. These aren't complicated, they're just different from what broke people do. Pick one rule to start this week. Not all 7, just one. Master it for 30 days, then add the next. Financial freedom is built one habit at a time, not overnight. Hit subscribe if this shifted how you see money. Comment on which rule you're starting with. Drop a number 1 through 7. Already doing some? Comment doing plus the number. Or drop your age plus starting if today is day 1. Want deep dives on investing for beginners, building side income, or teaching kids money? Comment on the topic. Financial success isn't about income, it's about habits, systems, philosophy. You're never too old or too broke to start. You are the architect. Start building.